Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Formula One 2021 League. This is Bahrain. It is race number 14. We are getting to the last few races, and it is close in the drivers and it is close in the constructors. I'm going to put the points up here immediately so you can see them. After the US race, we are 42 points ahead in the drivers, but that does not mean we have secured it. We can still DNF two of these three races, and all of a sudden we are tied on points with Moreau's. You can also see after the US, it wasn't one of our best team finishes, so we are now trailing 9 points. It's probably one of our biggest deficits since the beginning of the season. I think everything after that has been within 5-ish points, so quite a bit of ground to make up today. However, we're looking good. Bahrain is a track that most people like to race on. It's an interesting track. There's good overtake positions. My only gripe with it is that I tend to lose traction on my rear tires at certain points, especially turns 1, 2, and 3. And that little bit of traction loss can really lose me a lot of time. So I have to make up in those zones wherever I can and try not to spin this race. The goal, as always, is not to spin and to get as many points as possible. So with that in mind, let's get to the first qualifying lap. So now straight on to my qualifying lap. You can see that at the top right, there's only 30 seconds left in the session as I warm up my tires. And I currently have first position, but those tires that I use are a little more worn. I think I had to do 2 or 3 laps to get that, and there's still people out right now on a lap, so theoretically my time could get beaten. So I have nothing to lose by going for a faster time here. If I get a faster time, I'll have fresher softs to start the race on. In case anyone does improve their time, if I improve my time that much more, it'll be that much harder for me to lose first place. And getting first on this track was not something I expected. As you can see, I got a little too much curb there. I'm going to go right into the red for my Delta. 2/10 down. Normally that would be enough for me to stop, but I know, like I said, I lose traction on random parts of this track, like right there. And all of a sudden I've got those 2-3 tenths back, and then here I get a slide and I lose it, and then I gain it back. It's all over the place. I'm not super consistent right now, but obviously I have the pace everywhere else on the track. My exit here is important. It looks like I get a slightly better exit as I'm going thousandths faster as that time slowly gets better and better. Most of the rubber is down on the track now, so I should get more grip just from that alone, and a bit more mechanical grip as well. Going in 300ths down, and a really good braking point there. I'm going to lose a bit of time stabilizing here, but now, a bit of a bad exit. We're losing hundredths, and now it really matters. If we can hold this, we get those fresh tires to start, so we're really, really trying for it. It's going into the red. We're just going to be short, but the exit is really good, and we go up 1/100th as we cross the line to beat our old lap. And it doesn't seem like much, but that is extremely important for us starting on the newer softs. Having a little bit fresher tires will help anyone who really tried to push and beat us. If you don't remember, I know I've said it in the past, whatever tire you set your time on, those are the tires you start on. So if I didn't beat that time, I would be starting on, I believe they were 3-lap-old tires. So really, really good for me. I'm really proud of that, actually, considering how good other people are on this track. So now onto the race itself. You can see that the soft to medium strat, the softs really have to go a little bit further before the mediums are gonna make it. Don't get me wrong, both sets of tires will make it, but you really have to push them as long as you can, and that's exactly what I'm going to try and do. Especially starting in first. I can't remember exactly what everyone's tire strategy is. I know there's at least one medium runner starting this race, but my goal is to just get ahead of everyone and get as far as I can as we get 5 red lights on Bahrain. And it is a pretty good start. You can see my revs drop a little bit, but they immediately kick into gear. I'm going to cover off a little bit, but I think against it. I don't think anyone's going to try and dive me. You can see a little bit of a red arrow there. I don't know if I got a bump there, actually. Possibly got a little bit of a nudge. There's some yellow flags in there for sure, so you can see that someone has fallen behind. Actually, might have been Moreau's. Maybe he went into the back of me a little. There was a little nudge there, but so far no damage for us, and we're going exactly as planned. We're already a second ahead of Checker, and we've only used 12% of our battery, and we're going to harvest quite a bit in these braking zones. So for now, my goal is to not use any battery unless Checker uses it to gain a lot of time, because while he's fighting Chills, who's in third and only, 3/10 behind him, they should continue to lose time and position to me by just battling it out. So the more battery I save, just the better off I'm gonna be.
The real test is the final curve, the uphill.
Yeah. Okay, Chill passed. Oh, Checker an incident.
Yeah, Checker swung back in. He was ghosted, luckily, but if you weren't ghosted, I would have been out of the race.
Okay, so now I just need to keep Chills behind me, and we have some nice clean racing for now.
Now I go for the overcut on Eric, I guess.
Now, on to lap number 5. Right before we hit the pit lane, there is an incident, so I immediately dive without question. This is going to be a safety car, and I did not want to miss this. I was that close to losing out on it. However, I did lose some time to Chills regardless of it being a safety car. If it was a virtual safety car, it would have mattered. But it's annoying that, again, it doesn't show you my speed when I'm going into the pit lane, because that's what you need to do to not get a penalty, is drive the speed limit, and the speed limit is shown at the top where it says catch the safety car, so sometimes that can get in the way. But regardless, we managed to get our pit in. We're going to be unaffected by that, and we can continue the race.
The field in Sector 3, make sure to respect the Delta until the safety car is in the pit lane.
So what has been the case many times now, we are leading the pack. Unfortunately, all that time we got ahead of everyone is lost now, but we're just going to have to race. I'm going to set the pace here. I'm waiting for safety car, and I'm going to gun it here. And all of a sudden, I get slowed down, and I'm not doing this on purpose. The safety car was not in the pit lane fully, so it stopped me from overtaking it, which was really awkward. And I hope it didn't cause too many issues, but it definitely caused at least some issues. But either way, we have to deal with it. You can see our teammate in third has a 5-second penalty for, I think, nudging someone. That's going to get removed later. He falls from Sinful, who was in fourth previously, now third, now on the soft strat. So he is now a threat, because his tires can definitely go to the end. So we now have a race on our hands rather than just a casual jog around. And Chills is right behind us, and Chills was also keeping pace with us through the first few laps when we were using battery to keep him out of DRS. So now I've got to put in the same first lap I did on the other one, and hopefully not have too many issues.
Burrows must have a low downforce setup because he is
I just got shunted.
me.
Oh god.
What happened?
Chills just went in the back of me. It's a shame. It's a hard loss to take there, especially after leading for so long. And not long after, you can see my teammate also has an issue and falls behind me. So the 1-3, 1-4-ish positions we had are now 7th and 8th. Now, the race isn't over. It doesn't look like I got any damage. And you can see ahead of me Sosa, who's directly in front of me, has a 10-second penalty. And then there's Morose right in front of him, who had an issue as I mount the curb and get a warning there, which is not really my fault, as my tires get lifted off the track and it sees me as no longer being on the track. But yeah, Morose had disconnected at one point. He had that issue really early on, and I believe he's trying to come back now. And Sosa has a big slap of oversteer there, so we're going to take that position. I'm going to drive straight through Morose as soon as possible, because I know he's coming back and he's going to be racing me as soon as he is, and he is our Drivers' Championship rival, so it's important to get in front of him as soon as possible. My teammate falling to 8th now as his tires were still overheating. And you can see now Morose does not have that X, which means he is back in the race, and we are now fighting. He's going to go have a look into the first corner, thinks against it. Thankfully, we're not going to have the same incident happen twice in a row, and he's going to stick behind us because he knows there's another DRS point right here, and we're going to use a bit of battery to try and get some space. But there are 3 DRS points on this track. The main straight, this straight that we just rode down, and a 3rd straight in the 2nd sector. So there's a lot of passing opportunities between these tight turns. So it's important that we are racing Moreau's. But you can also see Checker and Eric in front of me, and both have penalties that are going to put me in net P3, which means if I just continue my race as is, I should still finish on the podium, which is a good position considering that I had a spin. Also credit to Checker, who had his own spin and is currently in 3rd, but actually is in 5th after his penalties get applied. But you can see he has a 5-second penalty, which means it may be either he was speeding in the pit lane, which is very hard to argue, or he nudged someone the same way my teammate did during the safety car. And if you just nudge someone and there's no damage, we always remove those because it's a very silly thing that you can tap someone and get a 5-second penalty. So now I am on the hunt with Moreau's right behind me. I don't want to get caught up behind Eric. He shouldn't fight me too much anyways because of his penalties, but you never know. He might get removed. I'm going to use a bit of battery here, and yeah, he doesn't fight it in the end. He knows I've got the speed, so I'm just going to take that position, and that means Moreau's now has to fight him into these next few corners, and I can start trying to catch up on Checker. I unfortunately just don't quite get into his DRS range for this one, and looking back on it, I probably should have used my remaining battery to close that extra 10 so I could get DRS off him there and force Moreau's to try and overtake Eric on this upcoming DRS straight, and I would maybe also be taking a position off Checker, so that way I can keep Moreau's kind of have a car between the two of us and keep positioned that way. But for now, we're going to hold our position until we can get that DRS from Checker. So a bit of a time skip here. You can see that we're just finishing up lap 12 going to lap 13, and Eric has enough pace on me that he is actually in my DRS, so I have to close off a little bit. I'm not going to go too tight. My line here is just enough that he knows it's not a great angle to overtake there. It's like a 100-degree turn, so you really need to have full control of the corner to get past. I am within Checker's DRS now, so I'm getting double DRS here. But importantly, there's a bit of a DRS train right now, and I know Moreau's knows about it, and he's probably looking at it as there's a yellow flag in the 1st sector. It doesn't look like it's, I can't tell if there's anyone there. It looks like it might be Sosa at the back, so my teammate should be now in 7th. As we close in on Checker, I'm really trying to push to see if I can get him, but Checker has a lot of straight line speed. And that can make it very difficult to overtake, even if you're faster in the corners. But Checker's got his own wild setup, and it doesn't work for me, but it works for him, obviously, and it's sometimes very difficult to pass him. As you can see here, even after DRS, he's gained time on me. And my tires are starting to get a little warm, a little overheated, as I have a big snap of oversteer there, and all of a sudden, someone's going to go up my inside. I have to give space, and I'm right on the line, trying not to do too much, and I stay ahead of Eric, but unfortunately that means Eric is now susceptible to Moreau's, who's going to try and take the inside. I try and take off the inside line during my braking zone so Eric can have the long outside to go, but Moreau's still takes the position. And now he's got DRS on me going into this final lap. I push him wide just so he has to go the long way around. And now I have to be careful because Eric's going to be right behind me as well. And he's having a little bit of a look, but it's not quite there. Notably, Moreau's only has, must have less than 10%. His battery's flashing. A really stupid warning by me, and immediately another warning. And I've got a 3-second penalty now, so I have to hope that I can remove one of them, likely the mounting one I had earlier, but that means I cannot get another warning, otherwise it is going to stick. And importantly, I still have to beat Moreau's if that's the case, so I have to beat him without getting any track limits, and you can see my tires are about 30%. They're just in the warning zone of losing grip here and there. So this is really my last chance here on this DRS straight, and I'm going to try and push it, but my back tires just won't bite. Like I said at the beginning of the video, and you can see he's just too far away, and as much as I want to use battery here, I just can't get him. He's pushing his battery to the limit as well. We really need to overtake him on this last stretch. I've got a huge lock of oversteer, and it's just going to get me another warning, so now the 3 seconds stick. And unless I can remove 2, it's very unlikely. and that's likely going to steal it. He's also 5/10 away. He's probably burning the rest of his battery as well, and we're just gonna try and stay safe here. So it's unfortunate that not only did we lose the position, but we locked in that penalty. So otherwise we would have done so much better if we managed to pass if we managed to pass Moreau's there at the end and remove one of our penalties. Checker would have fallen behind us, and we would have had the P3 finish, but instead we are P5, I believe it was, after the penalties. I'll have to double check that actually. Not sure if we got P4 in the end. I think we got P5. Great races from everyone else. Obviously the nudge from behind is unfortunate, but these things happen. People miss their braking points. Like I said many times this season, there you go, I'm 5th. Like I said many times this season, we are not experts. In fact, there's a good number of rookies in here, you just have to go with the punches. So a bit unfortunate. I am going to put up the points here for everyone to see. And this means that we are, oh god, I have to do math again. That is 38 points ahead of Moreau's. So we still have a pretty sizable lead. But once again, there are 2 races left, which means a double DNF means that we would lose the Drivers' Championship. But even worse so, we are now 32 points behind for the Constructors, which means now we need them to have a poor finish and us to have a very good finish. A DNF would definitely swing the balance here either way. So it's going to come down to these last 2 races. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's going to be a bit of a longer one, actually, considering there was a spin incident, which usually means there's not a lot of action. But funny enough, most of the action happened after the spin. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and look forward to talk to you then. But how the fuck do you end these things?